Can everybody hear me? Just go into the chat box and say, yes, I can hear you, or no, I cannot hear you. Oh, perfect. Appreciate that. Good deal. Well, looks like we have quite a number of people on the call today, at least 100 participants. I think usually when you get it, I think we had about 300 folks that asked to join the call today. So, you know, if we get more people on board, great. If not, no worries. This will be recorded and shared with folks. So you should be able to get a recording of everything that we'll be discussing today. So, you know, kind of you know, folks, I'm pretty confident I've had quite a number of conversations with a lot of people on the call today. Again, my name is Justin Croxton. I am one of the managing partners at Propellant Media. We're a digital ad agency based out of Atlanta, Georgia, and also Charlotte, North Carolina. And, you know, me personally, I'm really excited. This is sort of a long time coming. We have a program at our agency where we work with a number of other digital ad agencies and other media groups, organizations that effectively want to bring geofencing and digital advertising, specifically geofencing programmatic display, to their clients. And what we noticed was at one point, with some of the own marketing that we do ourselves, we just started to get a lot of people asking us for that. And me personally, I never sort of considered us to be a white label agency, but it just kind of got to a point where I said, all right, well, if that's what people are asking for, then let's do that. So we effectively created this entire white label fulfillment arm of our agency that gives us the ability to execute campaigns on behalf of many clients that we work with in some capacity. So that includes everything from the ad creation all the way down to the strategy, down to the execution, as well as the reporting and the analytics for the clients that we work with. So the reason why I sort of set that up as a primer is because, you know, the intention of this call today, this webinar, was really for many of our white label partners. But I know that there's a number of people on here who are not white label partners. And I also know that there are a number of people on here who are just companies and individuals that are just interested in learning more about geofencing and programmatic display advertising. So whatever that is, whatever space you're in, that's perfectly fine. And for those who don't know what a white label partner is, it's someone who is essentially looking to resell our services to their clients. So effectively, you may have your own clients that you work with, whether they be in different industries, you know, say, for example, car dealerships, automobile, you know, legal, healthcare, hospitality. You have your own clients, and we're essentially just acting as the fulfillment execution arm in that capacity. So everyone, I'm just going to let you know, this is my first time doing a Zoom webinar. So it may be a couple fits and stops here, but I think we'll plow through it. A couple of things I want to mention. First is that if you do have a question, there is a Q&A section. Just go ahead and plow your question in there. That would be great. I know that we have also a chat box in here that I'm seeing quite a number of folks asking questions as well. So, you know, if you have some questions, you can ask there, but mainly if you have some really critical questions, enter them into the Q&A section. I'm not seeing any questions just yet come through, but if you do have some, we'll try to get to those as quickly as we possibly can. And then finally, we have a poll that we are going to launch as well, closer to the, I guess we can launch it now, but let's see what happens if we launch the poll now. Yeah, we'll just leave it here for now. So the poll is currently live. So anyone who wants to, you know, respond to that, that would be great. And we'll go from there. Once again, can everybody hear me okay? Can everybody see my screen? Just hit a yes in the chat box. Yes, Laura. Awesome, awesome. Hey, Mary, if you have a question, can you please just enter your question into the Q&A section? Because we have a lot of people on this call, and once I start answering raised hands, ends up being a little crazy. Awesome, awesome. So let's go ahead and get started. So everyone, really appreciate you all taking the time. This is really an opportunity to talk about both your partnership with Propellant Media as a white label partner, or in some capacity, whether you are a direct client or someone who is interested in, learning a little bit more about geofencing, that's sort of why we're here today. The bulk of the presentation, the conversation today will be geared a little more towards our existing white label partners, but I think this will still be incredibly informative to everybody that's going to be on the call today. So for those who don't know, at some point you've probably seen our ads. At one point you've probably been to our website at one point or another and learned a little bit about propellants, but just a little bit of history. We were founded about 4.5 roughly years ago. We're based here in Atlanta, Georgia, and also in Charlotte is where we expanded our offering, or not our offering, but our offices too. And mainly we exist to provide these cutting edge solutions, the digital advertising solutions to small, mid-sized emerging brands. And we are really starting to work with some of the larger enterprises out there in the ethos. And we used to be based out of Tech Square Labs out of Atlanta, Georgia. So it's sort of considered an innovation hub. It's created for entrepreneurs, by entrepreneurs. We are no longer there, but it kind of gives you a sense of us being more of a marketing and technology company rather than just only a marketing company in that respect. I don't know who that guy is. Yeah, no, that's me. Justin Croxton. I guess I've had opportunity to work in a lot of different fields in digital advertising, well over 10 years of experience in digital, but done everything from geofencing to Google AdWords certified agency, Facebook, programmatic, Amazon consulting, all types of fun stuff we've had the opportunity to work in. So that's good. So these are some of the big level topics that we're going to discuss today. And just one more time, this presentation is going to be recorded. So if you ever want to kind of go back to it, refer back to it. If you have any other questions, please, you can always kind of refer back to the presentation, all the things that we'll be discussing today. But I thought it would be nice to just kind of go back to the basics just one more time, talk about what is geofencing. And not just for all those folks that are just wanting to learn a little bit more about geofencing, but all the people who are existing partners, just to kind of look at it just one more time from the lens of Propellant Media and sort of how we look at geofencing in that capacity. Also, we have 2 new products that's come out recently that I think everyone on the call should be really excited about. The first is what we call addressable household geofencing, and then also CTV, over-the-top TV advertising through a programmatic display. We'll have some discussions around geofencing strategy as well. So sort of how we sort of start thinking about how we develop strategy for certain clients. We won't go into a lot of detail, but we have a lot of this material on our website too that you can always download if ever you're curious, sort of how we look at geofencing strategy in that capacity. The top industries and the verticals that are really winning with geofencing, I think for everyone on the call today, that's an area that you should, and it's going to be a little closer to the end, but you should definitely wait to listen in on that one. Because there are some verticals and some industries that are doing incredibly well with geofencing. Some of the other white label solutions that our agency does, there's a lot of folks that don't know that we also do AdWords, so just a kind of refresher on that. And then also 5 to 6 ways that our existing and new agency partners can win more clients and also get better clients. And I want everybody here to really hold on to this concept of where do my prospects go before they come to me? Because that is really the impetus behind geofencing and the power behind it is really your ability to think about where all your prospects go throughout that customer journey before they go to you guys. So just not to you guys, but of course, whether it be your company or your clients, organizations, or their enterprises, just look at it from that perspective. All right, let's get back to basics. Geofencing advertising, next level of programmatic display. So geofencing, in my mind, is this whole world of being able to target people in very, very precise areas. I'm talking about all the way down to the contours of a building. And you can kind of see here that we gave a few samples where we've built individual fences around different car dealerships. So you have Elk Grove Ford, you have Elk Grove Buick GMC. I mean, we can get very, very granular in the targeting that we do for various clients that we work with and that you would effectively work with as well. And I think the big advantage that we have with this geofencing platform is, number one, it's not beacon technology. And there's no knock on beacons, but it's not beacon technology. But the second thing that I think a lot of people sort of miss out on is that this is built on lat longitude coordinates. It's not radius based. So what that means is we're able to build individual customized polygons that allows you as a customer to get, or as an advertiser to get way more granular in who you want to focus on. And essentially what ends up happening is all the individuals that walk inside of these geofences, we're able to begin serving ads to those individuals, both on their smartphone and tablet devices. And our system is becoming better with cross-device matching. We'll talk a little bit about that in the future, in the near future. But there's a lot of opportunity that particularly exists with geofencing in this capacity. So a lot of different ways that you can utilize it. Competitor conquesting. You can do trade show targeting, retail locations, malls, event centers, neighborhoods, crosswalks. Many different options. And sort of as we kind of talk through the strategy behind it, we're all just trying to ultimately figure out how can we figure out where our customers go before they come to us, and where are they in that buyer journey, so we can figure out what's the best way to allocate our dollars based on where they are and the locations that we can effectively target. The other thing that's really powerful, I'm sure a number of you may already know this, but just kind of going through a couple of things I think is important to just remind everyone, is our ability to measure foot traffic back to a client's location. So say, for example, if you're a car dealership and we want to get a sense of how many individuals have either seen or clicked on our ads, and ultimately how many of those individuals have in fact come back to our client's car dealership, we can effectively measure that through our platform. And you can kind of see here, that's kind of what we've done, where we've built a few geofences, but then we ultimately have a conversion zone around one particular location. So whether it's measuring, not just foot traffic, but those who have either seen or clicked on your ads and then come back to your physical location, we can measure that through our platform. Now, the next logical question that we get from a lot of clients, a lot of companies, is can you still measure online conversions? And the answer is absolutely yes. You can still do that. So phone calls that may come in, form submissions, searches on your website, video plays, button clicks, email clicks, sends, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of that can still be measured. Of course, you do still need to have, for example, for the phone call piece, you can have call rail as a tracking mechanism to see who in fact has called in from some of these attribution channels. You can also measure button clicks through Google Tag Manager and Google Analytics. A number of other third-party pieces you would have to implement, but it can still be done nonetheless, so that we can get a real sense of what impact our advertising is having on any of these channels that we're effectively working on. Got it. So let's go to the next one. Can everyone still hear me okay, by the way? Just hit a thumbs up or a quick yes in the chat. Perfect. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate that. So key benefits of geofencing. In my mind, I still believe it's the absolute most targeted form of geographical targeted form of digital advertising. Of course, I'm still a big fan of AdWords, SEO. Those are cases where someone is actively in market, like, I need this product. I need a personal injury attorney. I need a bail bondsman. I need a moving company. I'm probably going to go to Google at some point or another. But what's really nice about geofencing is that you can still gain a sense of someone's buying intent based on their location. And geofencing works really, really well from that perspective as well. So you can also measure the online and offline conversions. Kind of talked about that a little bit already. A lot of people don't really think about this part, which is you're able to gain more efficiencies in your ad spend. So you may have companies that say to themselves, you know what, we want to target an entire radius or an entire zip code, but there's no other layering of behavioral or keyword targeting on top of that. But with geofencing, instead of targeting an entire area, like, for example, kind of going back to this to this one here, instead of building a fence all around this entire area, now I only need to focus on just these locations. And I can promise you, you are going to get way more efficiencies in your ad spend by doing that rather than targeting an entire zip code or an entire neighborhood, if that is not your intent. For us, I'm not going to say that it's easy to set up and implement, but it is simple. Normally, we're having these high-level strategic conversations with clients, just trying to understand what's most important to them, where their buyers go, and then having the ads and the creative built. If they have video assets, we're employing that into the campaign as well, and then we're deploying the overall campaign. So it's simple, but it's not easy to set up. But it can be a process that doesn't have to take, an entire month to get live. And the last thing that I'll say is it really does become a really nice complement to one's marketing mix. So whether you're doing AdWords, SEO, Facebook advertising, this is something that becomes part of your toolkit and what you're leveraging from an advertising standpoint. It's not just something, there are certain industries that do incredibly well with geofencing as a standalone, but I think personally it works really, really well when it's being incorporated into other forms of advertising that you're leveraging. So what geofencing is not, and I'm sure I'm getting a few calls from some of the folks on our team at Propellant Media, but also some of our white label partners that are out there. But geofencing in my mind is not beacon technology. It could be, maybe, but not in the way that I look at it personally. So we're not doing beacons. We're not placing physical beacons in locations. It's also no push notifications. So we're not sending a push notifications to someone's phone and they're just seeing this random pop-up because they walked by a particular location. That's not what that is. And I'm going to walk everyone through the process of geofencing, but it's not push notifications. It's also not SMS text messaging. We're not sending text messages to your mobile devices. They are also not text ads. So they're not Google AdWords or anything like that. It's also not Google Displays, the Google Display Network. We do have the ability to do site retargeting as part of an overall programmatic marketing mix, but it's not, geofencing is not site retargeting. You can look at it as a form of it, but it's really not site retargeting. We're not, tracking folks who have been to a website and then after they leave, we're serving ads to them. We're just doing that in the physical form within geofencing advertising. And then of course it is not billboard print advertising either. So just wanted to clear that up for some folks out there. So the process of geofencing, this is sort of how it works. A user with a mobile device, they enter the geofence location that we built. GPS technology captures the mobile device ID of that user. It's almost like the social security number for your mobile device effectively. We capture that information. It's anonymized. We don't get access to that information. We just have it stored in our database. And then once that user opens up a browser or an app on their mobile device, they will be able to see one of those ads. So if everyone who's on the call today, take out your mobile device and open up one of your favorite apps. Maybe it's like, Angry Birds. Maybe it's Words with Friends. Maybe it's the Wall Street Journal, Daily Mail. Maybe it's the PGA Tour app. Maybe there are some football fantasy league lovers out there. Maybe it's the Weather Channel. You're going to see an ad from someone that entered that geofence on one of those particular apps. That's essentially how we're able to deploy and to deliver the ads to the core customers that you want to effectively get in front of. And so we have well over 600 to 700,000 apps that we can serve through mobile, tablet, and some desktop. And we're also able to serve some ads on websites. I will say most of it, I'd say at least 95% of ads are typically going to be served through mobile apps. But what's really nice about our platform, and I was talking about this earlier with the cross-device matching, is our cross-device matching capabilities are improving. So that's one thing that I'm personally really excited about. And then lastly, after you've seen those ads on your mobile device inside of one of those apps or one of those websites, we can serve ads to you both while you're inside of that geofence as well as for up to 30 days after you leave the geofence, which is really cool. And so, just to recap, I know this is sort of back to basics. I know that there's a number of folks out there. It's like, all right, Justin, thanks. Been there, done that. I've heard that before. Let's get to the juicy stuff. I think it's important to kind of build up to some of the other things that we're capable of doing and just have this be as a refresher. So hold on to these types of locations as I get through the rest of this presentation. Competitor locations, your own location if you want to leverage that from a customer loyalty standpoint, retail, trade shows, different events, it's really nice. Individual buildings, hospitals, streets, cross sections, households, which we'll get into, and then lastly, sporting events. And so again, where do my customers go before they come to me? And if you can answer those questions, you can leverage geofencing in a very powerful way, both for branding as well as with some direct response advertising opportunities as well. Everyone, I'm going to probably answer questions at the very tail end of the presentation. So if you do have some, just put them into the Q&A section, and I will do my best to get through most of them as quickly as possible. And also, if you have not had an opportunity to fill out the poll that's currently live, please do so. I'd really appreciate your feedback on that. Addressable geofencing. Me personally, when I learned that this was going to be coming out, I got super, super excited about it because yes, with standard geofencing, it's awesome, right? Standard geofencing, you can target individual buildings, individual locations, all of that's well and good. But what if I had a customer file of people who are, customers of mine and they've been customers for some time and I want to run a customer loyalty program? Or let's say I'm a car dealership and I have leases that are expiring over the next 3 months, and I want to remind them that they should go ahead and re-up on a new lease or buy a new vehicle from our organization or from our company. And let's say I'm a news station and I have a list of people that have just moved into the area over the past month or 2 months, and I have the address, city, state, and zip of those individuals. With addressable geofencing, we're able to take the plat line coordinates of those individual homes, build fences around those households, and serve ads to those individuals directly on mobile devices, tablet, as well as desktop as well. So just kind of rehash again for everyone out there. This is just like standard geofencing of everything that we've talked about in the past and the reading material that you've gotten from us or one of our ebooks that you've downloaded. It's all of that. It's just taking it even further down to a granular nature within addressable geofencing. So, for me, I was super, super excited when I, first learned that this bad boy was going to be coming out. And there are some really, really big benefits that I personally see from addressable. Number one, it's incredibly precise. We're basically taking the plat line coordinates and we're using that with our lat longitude targeting to build fences around those homes and the people who go inside of those homes. So let's say you're a real estate agent or a brokerage firm, or you're a real estate developer, and you have a list of all the homes that are for sale in the neighborhood or within an area that are direct competitors or it's direct competition of your development. You can use addressable geofencing in that capacity and serve ads to the people that are walking inside of those homes. So that's the one thing that I really love about it. Highly scalable. We can do up to 1 million physical addresses that we can target. So it's not just like 100 or 10 or 50. We can do up to 1 million addresses effectively. We have a number of political campaigns that we're currently running. Today I think is voting day. So yeah, it's a pretty, a number of candidates have reached out to our agency to utilize addressable geofencing in that capacity. So it can be very powerful from that perspective. It does have some improved reach compared to IP address targeting. I still am a big believer, and I do love IP address targeting. We use that from time to time for some more advanced campaigns that we run for various clients. But this can be a really nice complement to any IP address targeting campaigns that some folks out there may want to do from time to time. We can still leverage and track foot traffic back from a client's location. Instead, we won't track it down to the individual household level. Instead, we'll track it to the zip code +4 level. So if there are a number of folks that have gone to a car dealership, let's say, all of those addresses will just sort of bottle up into the sort of the zip code +4 location effectively. And we do see it as, it really does improve the performance of any TV, direct mail, or any offline channels that a client may be executing within their existing campaigns. Here's some other things that's really nice with geofencing as well. I talked a little bit about the cross-device matching. Like I said before, the ease, and I won't even say simple this time, the ease that we can essentially take address, city, state, and zip and do a matching of all those locations. I mean, we're averaging about an 80% match rate. I probably shouldn't be, saying that too loudly. So let's say 70% to be conservative. But if you have the right locations in there, we'll get up there, and you'll be able to match pretty quickly a lot of those different folks, which is really nice. And the process for addressable geofencing is pretty straightforward. We take the physical addresses which an advertiser wants to target, and we upload that into the platform. The addresses are then matched against those plat line coordinates that I mentioned earlier. The system will then physically build out the fences around each of those individual locations. And if companies or organizations want to leverage this other component, we can layer on behavioral targeting capabilities, as well as other static creative, as well as video, as well as over-the-top TV and CTV advertising, which I want to talk about in a second. And then audience and every single address are updated on a daily basis. So it's not like, we build the fence and it's sort of forget it type of thing. It's updated, and the audience build is updated on a regular basis as well. So really exciting stuff. Let me see here. Chris, but can you do me a favor? Put your questions in the Q&A section, and I will get to some of those questions as well. I appreciate that question, Chris. Connected TV, big screen and small screen. I think as a business owner, there's nothing that, there's nothing that's greater than the feeling of like, man, I was able to get my ad on a TV, other than obviously, a company actually doing well and making money, clearly. That's obviously very important. But being able to leverage programmatic display and layering that with addressable geofencing, with run of network, with standard geofencing, really does lend itself as an opportunity for any companies, any organizations that have video assets that are 6 seconds, 15 seconds, 30 seconds, even a minute long, or you're currently running some TV advertising, but you don't want to spend $10, $20, $30,000 a month on TV. You have another campaign that you want to get way more granular with in your targeting. And so, this whole opportunity within video and OTT, we've already been doing just standard video, pre-roll, midstream, post-roll campaigns for many clients. But OTT is huge. OTT and connected TV, in my mind, some of the benefits that I see, certainly less expensive than standard television advertising. There's some other things that I think is really nice about it. But if you all think about, Hulu, PlayStations of the world, YouTube TV, Chrome, Fire Stick, a lot of those devices that are not connected to television sets, if you will, this is how you can effectively serve ads, both on those big screens as well as on the small screens on mobile devices and tablets as well. Let's see here. So there's some really key benefits that I see with over-the-top TV advertising, and being able to layer that with the precision of geofencing and digital advertising. So number one, it's non-skippable. As you all know, that I can see a static ad anywhere, but I can skip it, at any given point, But with this, it's non-skippable. The content is incredibly immersive. You don't have a choice but to watch that ad, essentially. So yes, it is going to cost you a little bit more, but you're ensuring that someone's engaging with your brand in some capacity, or at least hopefully you are engaging them into your brand at some point. You do have the ability to reach a unique group of video consumers that advertisers can't reach with traditional TV. So, if you're doing TV, and I'll be honest with you, everyone, I'm not an expert in TV advertising, but I can imagine that you have to be spending at least, I don't know, what is it, like 4,000 a month, 5,000, maybe 3,000. I mean, you can literally start leveraging addressable geofencing with at least, 2,000 or $3,000 a month and be fine. Or you can create a holistic campaign that includes OTT, connected TV, also pre-roll, post-roll, midstream video, and then also static ads. And now you have an even more comprehensive campaign that you're running within your organization. We also have access to inventory that's both short and long-form content, so that's really nice too. So we have some flexibility there. As I said before, just being able to combine the impact of TV with precision of digital, I think is what we ultimately want from an advertising standpoint, both for ourselves as well as for many of the clients that we work with. So that's one of the things that I think is incredibly nice. And then also the ability to access all the premium inventory through one centralized dashboard. And many of the folks here on the call today, that one thing that we're really big about here at Propellant is our analytics and our reporting. All of this information can also be provided within our same reporting dashboard for both white label partners as well as direct clients that we work with as well. So I kind of talked about this a little bit already, but just kind of one more time. Big screen is essentially OTT. That stands for over-the-top TV advertising like Roku and Fire Stick and those other apps that you can essentially watch TV and movies on. And then CTV is connected device. So that's like small screen, like mobile devices effectively. You can layer on some of our targeting methods from standard geofencing to addressable, our behavioral targeting with like keyword contextual and category targeting, and then also search retargeting as well as another area that we can layer. And then we also do have demographic targeting capabilities as well. One question that I do get from some folks as well, Justin, what do I do if I don't have a list? And this kind of goes back to the addressable geofencing part of this conversation, but also sort of layering it with OTT. What do I do if I don't have a list of addresses? There is a certain fee, but we can actually do that for you. There are times when that will just have to be baked into the CPM. But I think when you're able to leverage that level of targeting with OTT, it does lend itself to some serious advantages that you have in comparison to some of the competition that might be out there. So just something to think about as we're going through the strategy for various campaigns that you may want to launch for your own clients in the future. As I said before, there are many, many sample stations. I mean, if you kind of look here, let's see here, let's read a few of them. So we have AOL, which is sort of a little bit old school, but let's get some of the better ones, right? So you got Bravo, CNBC, CNN, Comcast, ESPN, Dish, the Food Network. I'm sure there's some foodies out there, HDTV. Let's see here. You have the Weather Channel. You got TNT, and then plenty of the devices. You have Apple. You have Roku, Samsung, Sony, and then all the different exchanges that we effectively have access to as well. So, again, as an advertiser, it's really nice to be able to take an asset that you currently own, whether you're leveraging some form of TV advertising currently, or you have a video that you did that's really well done. It's 30 seconds or maybe it's 15 seconds, and you want to leverage that at some point for your own level of targeted advertising. I can assure you that many companies are not doing this. Hardly anyone's doing this level of targeting, let alone layering addressable geofencing and standard geofencing with this level of advertising. So everyone out there, please, huge opportunity here with OTT and CTV advertising. So if you have some questions, again, add them to the queue. I will get those bad boys answered for you. Can't promise I can answer all of them, but I'll try and answer as many of them as I can. And again, if you haven't filled out the poll, please do so. It is currently live. I greatly appreciate that. So other solutions that we fulfill on for many partners that we work with, we do also paid search. And I know that many of our partners out there also do paid search for pay-per-click advertising for your clients. I just want to make sure that everyone's aware, because there's a lot of people that don't realize that, when you go to our website, and many of you have, it's sort of a beast. Can everyone still hear me? Looks like I had a little snafu with the PowerPoint. Just 1 second. Let's get it back up and running. Here we go. Just bear with me, everyone. All right, let's go ahead and share. Can everyone still see my screen? Just 1 second. Yep, all right, perfect. Awesome. Thanks, everyone. So let's go back to that section. So I know that there's a number of people out there that already do paid search, pay-per-click advertising. Just letting you know, we also do paid search. We also do Facebook. Obviously, on the analytics side, we're really big on that area within our agency. So if you are curious about our white label pricing here, just ask. We'll send you the pricing. It's no big deal. Just let us know. I mean, we have guys that's managed, $1 million a month campaigns within paid search. So we're we're no slouch in that area either. I think, for us, the geofencing, the programmatic was just huge because a lot of times as an agency, you're trying to figure out how can I differentiate myself? How can I get something out there that is both powerful, but also can make a difference for organizations that want something that's a little different from an advertising perspective. So when you do go to our website, you do notice that, man, these guys are all about geofencing. But if you take a little time sniffing through, you'll find a bunch of other stuff, maybe almost too much stuff that we do, but it's all good. It's all in good fun. So geofencing strategy. Many of you have probably heard me say this, and I'm pretty confident, many of the guys on our team probably say I'm the worst salesman at our agency because I'm sitting here, saying, oh, geofencing is so awesome. And I'm coming back and saying, geofencing is not the magic bullet. But, the truth is that it's not. It's not the magic bullet, people. Geofencing is not going to solve all your problems. It's not. Geofencing is awesome because you can get so targeted with the advertising. But you still have to remember that geofencing is display advertising, right? You're putting your ads in front of someone that didn't ask to see them in the first place. So a lot of times when we're talking to clients, we're thinking about it more from, it's more about patience, right? It's about thinking about the long-term opportunities and the benefits within geofencing that truly exists. So, I say all that to say, geofencing is awesome, but when folks are layering it with other things is when you really do start to have an even better impact. And we've seen that across many different industries that we've worked in. So I thought it was important to just kind of have just a quick strategy conversation and sort of how we view not just geofencing, but again, kind of going back to that core question on where do my customers go before they come to me, essentially. So a lot of the things that our team, both on the ad ops side, but also a lot of our senior directors and our VPs think about is, number one, what budget are you going to market with your clients, right? And sometimes, and look, everyone on the call, I really do get it. Sometimes when you're either starting out as, with your own agency, or this is kind of new, or, you're just trying to get people immersed into this other form of digital advertising, it's tough. You can't really just ask somebody to test out, $10, $20, $30,000 for 3 months. That's, shoot, I've never done this before, so why should I spend that kind of money? But that's also the reason why our agency exists, and is why you guys are there too, is to make it a little easier of a pill to swallow for people to test to see what impact this could have on their overall marketing mix, essentially. So when I think about a budget that's worth testing, please, nothing less than $1,000. And at one point we were at $500 a month for a lot of our white label partners. I personally believe it should be closer to like 2,000 to 3,000, quite frankly, minimum, depending on how many locations you personally have. So like, let's say, for example, you're a franchisor and you have like, 30 locations all across the country, and you want to target, 10 or 20 competitors of each of those locations, but you only have a $5,000 budget. That's not going to work. That's close to, what's that, like $250 per, target market? No, that's not a good move. But so just kind of think about that, because that does go into the strategy and how you're trying to deploy and sort of split up the budget accordingly across these various campaigns. We also look at the ad serve per day per person. Our standard is 4 ad serve per day per person, our agency, and we go up or go down based on reach, based on our overall intent. So for example, we're talking strategy. For an OTT campaign, I'm not going to do 8 ads served per day per person. I might not even do 4. I might go all the way down to 2 or 3, because, if someone's seen my ad, once or twice, or hopefully I've had some research that's been done, or if someone's seen my ad 8 times or something to that capacity, then, at one point or another, they're going to definitely know me, at some point. So as a personal injury attorney, they've seen one of my 30-second commercials. Hopefully when someone, if God forbid something were to happen to that person, they got into an accident, they might be thinking of me in some capacity. Or if I'm at that ER center, they're thinking of me as they're on their mobile device, just kind of, dilly-dallying. Number of geofences. We like to start with at least 10 to 20 locations. I know I have a few white label partners that do 5, that might do 10. That's totally fine, depending on the vertical that you're operating in. But the reason why we like to do more geofences, the more the merrier. And we're not going to just say, hey, do $1,000 budget and then do like, 10,000 business locations. Now, addressable is different. Addressable geofencing, that's a different animal. But part of the reason is, number one, we want to get a sense of which locations are in fact going to drive foot traffic or drive engagement or drive conversions better. So give you an example, we have a client, which I actually understand the approach, but it's a car dealership. And they want to target both the other car dealerships from a competitor conquesting standpoint. And they also want to target Home Depot and Lowe's. And at first I was kind of against it. I was like, no, don't do that. But, after having some more discussions, they know their market. And they said that, look, we have a number of people that go to these locations and they come to us, and we can't really put our finger exactly why it is, but we have at least some research that tells us that this is where our demographic hangs out. They may not be in market, but they may be at these locations. So we added those in as additional locations. Now, it's as I said before, you want to have a number of geofencing locations that you can target. But what if you only focused on the Home Depot and the Lowe's and not the car dealerships? Then, you would have your entire budget go to those 2 locations. And if it failed, then you say, oh, geofencing sucks. Geofencing is terrible. I can never do geofencing again. And so what we're trying to do is mitigate our risk a little bit. We want to spread it out, look at the locations that are really making a difference for us, and then really hone in on those types of locations and put more ad budget to those. It's just like with AdWords, people. You're going to have like 100, 200, maybe 1,000 keywords, but then that there's typically going to be 20 keywords, or 20% of your keywords are going to yield 80% of your conversions. It's the same concept of what we're trying to achieve here. Also, from a layering standpoint, there's also some opportunity with layering capabilities where we can target people by way of demographic variables. So race, age, income, some of that is available. There's a premium for that, but I think it's worth it depending on the type of campaign. And we'll deploy that for certain clients that we are working with. We're really trying to work through the strategy for some of these campaigns that we are running for various clients. As I've said before, and the new thing that we've just rolled out recently with testing video and OTT with static, I think if you have an asset, it's worth it. When I say an asset, I mean a video, whether you want to use it for regular video or if you want to use it for OTT and connected TV, I think it's worth it personally. And then, as I said before, you really want to make your campaigns more holistic. Um, don't just put all of your eggs into the geofencing basket. Many of the folks out there, whether you're sophisticated marketers or you're just kind of getting your feet wet within marketing, or thinking about geofencing, many of you may be already doing Google AdWords. Maybe you're doing some print, maybe SEO. Maybe you're working on the conversion rate within your website, maybe more content. You're thinking about the overall game plan. And the same thing holds true here when it comes to programmatic. So here, for a lot of our campaigns that we like to launch for clients, we don't, like when we're working with many of our direct clients, like so not like white label partners or media groups, but direct clients, we are doing a little bit of all these different things. So we'll put like, 5 or 10% towards site retargeting, another 20% towards search, maybe another 20% towards keyword contextual, another 40% towards geofencing, another 15%, 10% towards addressable geofencing. And then the client may already be doing some form of digital advertising, whether it's, Facebook ads or Instagram or, Google AdWords, or they already have SEO rocking and rolling within their enterprise. Do more of those things that still gives you the ability to target people based on intent, based on those people that are sort of in that buying cycle. And if you do that, again, we're mitigating our risk while still putting our message in front of those individuals that could be in market or likely to be predisposed to our message and what we're trying to promote to them and get them more immersed into our brand. So, we have a strategy document on our website. Everyone don't go there at the same time, but we have a number of actually ebooks on our site. Strategy is one of them. So you may not see it the first time, but if you go there a few times, you probably will see it. Just download it. I think it'll be useful. But that's sort of like a drop in the bucket in terms of all the variables that our team at Propellant is looking at as we're thinking through the strategy. There are some campaigns that are a little bit simpler than others, and there's some that are a little bit more complex. So these are the industries that are doing incredibly well, doing good, and just doing okay. Let me start backwards a little bit. No, you know what? Let's start with the ones that's a little bit more exciting. So these are the verticals that I think are like stellar to do well with. And I'm really talking to not just direct clients that are out there, not just prospects that are interested in geofencing, but also our white label partners. If you're thinking about certain verticals that you really want to hone in on, car dealerships, absolutely huge. Retail franchises, absolutely huge. Personally, I love restaurants because what happens a lot of times is I just need somebody to tell me where to go to eat, and I'll go try it out. A lot of times I just want to try something that's new. And if the food is good, if the ambiance is great, if the experience is great, then I'll go there on a regular basis, essentially. And then, you can do a addressable geofencing campaign for a restaurant. You can target other restaurants that are just like yours that's in the area, right? From a competitive conquesting standpoint. And then you can build a geofence just around the restaurant from a customer loyalty standpoint. And you can have, let's say 10% off when you come back within the next week or within the next 2 weeks or something crazy like that, right? So there's a lot of ways that you can leverage that, but love restaurants, love food. Medical, healthcare, this is an incredibly great industry to work in. I think probably the biggest challenge though is there are certain HIPAA laws and you have to be HIPAA compliant with some of the ads and the creative that you serve, but also the locations. So as an example, you cannot target places that are diagnosed specific. So I can't target like an abortion clinic. I also cannot target like a cancer clinic or that type of diagnosed specific locations. I cannot. Now hospitals, general hospitals, if I'm trying to do a branding campaign for a hospital, or let's say I have an addressable geofencing campaign and I just want to target people, within a certain area or zip code, I can do that as well within, this particular industry. Now, on legal, I like legal, but a lot of times we have certain clients that are really big on lead generation and they only care about that. And then they'll come to us and they'll say, well, Justin, this is great, but I'm seeing a few phone calls, but I'm not seeing a lot of calls that's coming directly from geofencing. And a lot of times we like campaigns to run for at least 3 months to give some of these campaigns some time to breathe. And look, not every campaign that we run is successful. That's what marketing is. You're trying to figure out what kind of ROI I can get, what kind of branding I can get from this campaign, and then, expand it out from there. So there are going to be a number of lead generation clients that are just looking for phone calls only. And you just need to temper the expectations and get them to think about the bigger picture within geofencing. Because again, as I said before, geofencing is not the magic bullet. It is sort of this, this form of display advertising that's incredibly targeted, and you're trying to put your message in front of folks that are most likely to be predisposed to your message. The other ones that are really great are education, trade shows, hospitality and travel, and then politics. We have a few campaigns that we're running. And yeah, I think a few campaigns that are actually ending today, actually, for a number of politicians running for office all around the country. And we also do quite a bit of work in the nonprofit space too. So if anyone has questions on that, please let me know. The ones that do relatively good are technology and software. I actually would put the real estate into the great category, to be frank, particularly those folks who are brokerage firms, developers, construction, those types of spaces do really well with real estate. Professional services like, bail bondsmen, HVAC, I think those are good. I don't think they're great, but I still think they're good enough where, clients are going to reap some really good rewards from that. Nonprofits, I said, is good. Trade organizations, recruiting and job placement. This is interesting. We've had a number of trucking companies that reach out to us for recruiting purposes. I think it's a great tool because you can target folks in very precise locations. So we may target other trucking locations. It's just depending on how you're using it and how you're deploying it and coupling it with some of the other advertising that you may be doing from a targeting standpoint. And I think there are certain B2B opportunities that could be incredibly valuable with street geofencing. Now, the ones that I think are just okay, or I might even just feel like, I don't know about this one. Those folks that only rely on leads, like if I'm not getting a phone call from this, then, those are the kind of ones that I kind of personally stray away from. And I'll even tell our team to stray away from, or at the very least have an honest conversation. Because I'm really not here to sell you. I mean, maybe I am, but I'm really here to educate you and show you like, hey, this is a mix. If you look at the continuum of branding and direct response marketing, this is somewhere right in the middle, essentially. So you can't expect to get like 20 phone calls a month that starts coming directly from geofencing. We're looking at the overall brand lift. We're looking at the total number of people that are now doing more branded searches for your organization or for your company. We are looking at some of those online conversions, but we're looking at multiple things. And you can't just look at geofencing in a vacuum if you're only focused on phone calls and appointments that are being booked. So for me, when the folks on our team, when someone say, hey, I just want leads, can you do that for me? First thing that I do is I try to educate. And then I say, I would suggest that you really put more money into AdWords, into SEO, into Yelp, those types of platforms, and then start taking advantage of geofencing in some capacity. And then the other thing is e-commerce. I guess we just haven't done enough e-commerce on the geofencing side. But I think there could be some value there, particularly if you're maybe a larger brand. But for these small brands that are cash strapped, I would not start with geofencing or programmatic. Maybe I would with like certain types of programmatic, like our search retargeting or our site retargeting. And just as a tip for everyone out there, every single client that you work with, or if you are a company out there, there is no reason for you not to be doing site retargeting in some capacity. These are people who have been to your website, left. They are more than likely to be the best customer to engage with effectively. And we do a ton of site retargeting for just about as many campaigns as we possibly can, because it has that overall surround sound impact on the other campaigns that you're running at any given point. So highly, 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 highly recommend that to everyone out there. So how to win more clients. There's just some small tips. It's nothing major, but I just thought I wanted to kind of share this with everyone. Sell less, educate more. I think everyone that's on the call today, I would hope that sort of what you got from your experience with propellant, or to some capacity, is that I try not to sell you. Maybe sometimes I do come across that way, but I'm more so just trying to give you some perspective on what is not possible, where we've had some success, where we've had some failures, and how we've learned from those mistakes, or not just mistakes, but also failures that we've had for campaigns that we've ran across the board. And so I think as you are having conversations with your clients, just try to have more of a sobering conversation with folks, letting them know this is what we can do, this is what's possible, these are some sample case studies of what we've done in the past. This is how you can reap similar rewards or some success, and then go from there. So the last piece, not last piece, but the next piece is understand the company's customer journey. I cannot stress enough how important that is. Understanding the customer journey is so important, because now if we're trying to answer that original question, where do my customers go before they come to me? That understanding the customer journey ties in jointly with that question. And maybe you need to sit down and ask them, okay, well, where do your folks go? Where do they hang out? Where do you get most of your customers from? Have you done any polling of your existing customers? A lot of those questions are really vital, I would say, personally. Learn more of the technology. So it'll be webinars like this, ebooks that we have on our website that you can download. Just trying to know as much about the tech as possible, programmatically, as well as the geofencing will help at the end of the day. Try not to just focus on many different verticals. I think some of the clients, white label partners that we work with, kill it in a few particular verticals, whether it be, well, I won't say the the verticals that are out there, but the ones that I mentioned before, in this other slide, I think are great ones. Try to focus on two. So maybe 50% of your effort goes towards those, and the other 50% goes towards just whatever clients you currently have and that you work with. Again, don't try to lower your prices too much, folks. I think usually it's a detriment rather than a benefit. I understand that you're trying to, bring on new clients. Sometimes you have to lower your prices. For me, my benchmark is I like clients who go at least 2,000 personally. That's me. But we also want clients that are going to be doing 5,000, 10,000 a month. That's also great too. And then lastly, trying to incorporate other digital advertising into some of your campaigns. You may be asking, well, how does that help me win more clients? I think the bottom line is we want our clients to have success. And a lot of times when we see geofencing coupled with those other areas of digital, it does have an impact. It does have an impact. So everyone, this is kind of what we discussed. We went through, what is geofencing? We talked about addressable geofencing, connected TV, OTT with programmatic, the other white label solutions that we offer at our agency. So if you guys want pricing on that, please feel free to reach out to us, shoot us an email. Just a quick conversation on strategy, the top industries and the verticals that are winning with geofencing, and then 6 ways that I think many of you can go out and not just win more business, but also partner with great clients as well. So, all right, that was good. Let's go ahead and let's see here. I'm trying to find, oh, here we go. Let's go to some of these questions. 45 questions, wow, wowie zowie. Let me see here. Can everyone still see my screen? Probably wasn't the best. I probably should have asked that a little earlier, right? Lori, Bill. All right, cool. Sweet. Okay. Jim Cox, really love providing the geofencing for my client. That is a high-end wine store. What would be the best option to geofence the wine aisle at local grocery stores or big box stores to target those shoppers. So you can't really, I don't know if I would target, I don't know if I would target necessarily the aisles. Maybe there would be other wine stores or liquor stores that are out there, or maybe there are restaurants that, a number of high-end clients typically go to. That's sort of the way that I personally would go about it. That's how I go about it, Jim, personally. But there's a lot of times you can come up with some other strategies that could work for a wine store. I think the other thing that's really great within geofencing is that we can, and programmatically, we can do wine stores. So we can do wine, we can do beer, we can do alcohol advertising for a lot of companies that are out there. So just so everyone knows about that. So I just answered that live, so we're good there. Will the presentation and audio be available after the webinar? Yes, it will. Answered live, done. David, do we have to implement CallRail ourselves for our clients, or is this done by Propellant for white label agents? Our agency is able to implement CallRail. We do charge a fee for that. So we can do it, essentially. And anyone that's curious about what CallRail is, it's a call tracking software that has a phone number dynamically change on a client's website. If you go to our website, www.propellant.media, you will notice that our phone number is like a 404 number, but our real number for our agency is 877-776-7358. Please, everyone, do not call us at the same time. But the reason why I say that is because we have CallRail implemented on our website, and we're a big believer in doing this work that we do for our clients. We do a lot of the advertising for ourselves as well. Appreciate that question. Ernest, what platform will geofencing ads appear? Desktop, laptop, platform? We have a number. So AppNexus, MoPub, I think we have a little bit of inventory on the Google Display Network. It's not Google Display, but we do have some inventory on there, if that makes sense. We have over 20 to 25, and if anyone has received, one of our pricing emails, then it's in there. All the ad exchanges that we do have access to, so Bing, Yahoo, there's some other ad exchanges that we effectively have access to as well. Hold on, I didn't answer that. Oh, there we go. I didn't answer that question. Brandon, so is it best marketing face-to-face, or have you been success with telemarketing? We have had quite a bit. I'd say out of all the clients that comes to our agency, we probably, and this is going to be kind of funny, but I'd say at least 95% are through telemarketing. And we are not cold calling on a lot of companies. We just haven't started that part of our process within our agency. We get a ton of inbound marketing, a ton of inbound leads that comes to our agency. And when we have some larger enterprise clients that we're cultivating some long-term relationships with, that's sort of our go-to-market and our strategy and how we're going about it. But there is quite a bit of opportunity to do these types of webinars with clients. Again, not selling, but educating on the opportunities that are available within geofencing and programmatic display. Will geofencing ads appear on desktop? So I answered that question already. So we're good there. How have you seen GIF used in healthcare? Oh, geofencing, excuse me. Geofencing used in healthcare. Kind of talked about it a little bit, but with hospital systems, we had one hospital system that was an orthopedic hospital system, and they asked us to geofence sports arenas, sports stadiums, football fields, where a lot of people get into a number of accidents, bones are getting broken, all that type of stuff. And then we'll also target other orthopedic practices. I think we can do orthopedic. Well, don't hold me to that. I got to double check on if that's diagnosed specific or not. But ultimately, that's sort of how we've used in the healthcare space. Again, what's really great about the healthcare space is the average customer value is so high, where with the precision of digital and geofencing, with that average high customer value, it's sort of a no-brainer for a lot of folks in the medical and healthcare arenas. And the other thing that's really nice about geofencing and programmatic is it's very difficult to do forms of AdWords, and not just AdWords, but specifically display on the Google Display Network. Very, very challenging. Whereas with us, you can do site retargeting, you can do geofencing, and not have as many challenges and leveraging it in that capacity. Great question. Jose, have you seen, yeah, I think I answered that question. Thanks, Jose. What is cross-device matching? Cross-device matching is when you have a mobile device and it goes to the same location that a tablet or a desktop device is located. And our system has some capabilities in cross-device matching. So if someone's seeing ads on that same mobile device, they can then potentially start seeing those ads on desktop and tablet as well. Great question. We will be able to rewatch this webinar later. Absolutely, Jack. When would you run geofenced campaigns versus IP address campaigns? I might have to punt on that question because that would probably require me to answer that in a long form. So Grant, if you don't mind, if you just shoot us an email, team@propellant.media, I'll get that question answered for you. Why would I choose IP address? Okay, there's a few people that are asking about IP address. So I think like for trade shows, IP address targeting is great. It's just another way to extend your reach effectively, because you may have people that you want to target on desktop or on tablet, and a lot of those people connect to, Wi-Fi networks that way. And so in those cases, that's where we will extend those campaigns onto IP address targeting. I personally don't always look to replace the IP address. It's just an addition to the geofencing campaigns that we run for various clients. So kind of answered that one. Is addressable geofencing similar to standard geofencing? Yes, it is. There is no additional cost. Outside of if you want us to pull a list, there is an additional cost. But outside of that, if you have your own list, there's no additional cost outside of what we've already discussed in the past from a pricing standpoint. Does this also include streaming, audio, video ads, Pandora? I believe Pandora is coming online soon, but right now it does include video ads for sure with the addressable, the addressable and also the OTT advertising. Do you have a PDF on addressable? No, but we do have a deck. So if you shoot us an email, we will get that over to you. Well, actually, no, because I can't take 100 emails from everyone. We'll figure out a way to get it to you. We'll figure something out. I'll probably shoot you a blast email out to everyone on some of the things that everyone's requesting. Can you explain an example of applying behavioral targeting to addressable geofencing? So let's say you have a list of addresses that's in a zip code and you want to target people that love cats. I'm just saying it randomly. That's an example of how we can do behavioral targeting that way. Or if you have done searches via certain keywords and you want to layer that on with addressable geofencing or OTT advertising, we can do that as well. That too is a form of behavioral targeting that we can leverage within our agency as well. Are you able to create a lead file based on those who come to a targeted area? So that's more for our advanced level of geofencing, if you will. We can do it. But we have clients that are spending a lot more money than just $1,000 campaign. So that would be for some discussion in the future, but we do have that capability. Can we combine addressable geofencing with retail business? Absolutely. And you can separate the spends. Absolutely. In fact, we recommend you doing that. Are there price packages broken down for white label partners? Brandon, email us. We'll get you that pricing. Shoot us an email. We'll get that pricing over to you. John Irving, what is long form, short form content? Long form content might be like a 2-hour movie with commercials. Short form content might be, like a 5-minute video, but we're able to show it through OTT nonetheless. Addressable geofencing isn't targeting via cable TV. Not really. It's OTT, so it's like so addressable TV. Addressable TV, to your point, can be TV, but in the word of what we're saying with addressable geofencing and OTT, it's like Roku devices, connected TV devices, that type of thing is what we're able to do from that perspective. Is non-skippable really seen as an advantage? A person skipping is passing a message that the ad is not interesting, that's keeping it less interruptive for the user. I mean, I'd say that non-skippable is an advantage. If someone doesn't have a choice but to see my ad, that's a good thing, right? I want you to see my ad. And, you know, if you're able to see my ad, then, you know, you've seen it. Now, whether you're engaged in it is a different story, but I personally see it as more of an advantage than not. That's my perspective. Good question, but that's how I look at it. Will this deck be available outside of this webinar? You know, for you, Tiana, and for everyone else out there, I'll try to get an email out that has this in PDF form, so you'll have it too. So we'll do that for you. Will Propellant Media provide presentations like this one in a white label version? Thank you, Greg, for bringing that up. We actually do have some white label documents, both case studies as well as other forms, selling materials and educating materials that's available to our white label partners. So we'll figure out a way for you to gain access to that. But we do have that available, and that's something that we have made available to several of our white label partners so that you're able to hit the ground running with your existing clients as well as new clients that you're looking to effectively onboard. Wow, so it's 1:10. I guess I'll just continue to answer questions, and anyone who cannot stay on, that is totally fine. How many people are still on, by the way? 117 still. Okay, got it. So that question's done. So we can provide an address list to you and then target them through video OTT, correct? Absolutely. Does OTT work with normal geofencing, or do you need addresses to serve the ads? They work with normal geofencing and addressable geofencing. This presentation available? Yes, it will be. Price? Happy face, maybe? Ballpark for 5,000 to 10,000 car dealership locations trying to target owners / employees with video static ads. Everyone, if you go to our website, propellant.media /CPM-calculator, there is a calculator on our website. If you just do the Google search for CPM calculator, Propellant Media, you'll find it. If you scroll down, there's a calculator that helps you figure out the pricing based on what our current white label arrangement is with our agency. So I can't give you a ballpark on 5,000 to 10,000 car dealerships, but I mean, you know, maybe if you have that many, you could probably do, I'm thinking maybe somewhere around, maybe about $5,000, maybe 7,500, I would say. That can fluctuate depending on the situation though. Who do we talk to address paid search and SEO? You can talk to myself or one of our other partners within our agency. We also have our senior directors within our agency as well. Just shoot us an email. We'll get some of those questions answered too, Rob. Hey, Justin, we have a vendor who can provide us with the mobile device owner's name, cell phone number, email address, home, if we can provide him the IP address of the cell phones within the Geofences, that's something you can help us with. So Bob, we can't do it in that capacity. If you provide us with the IP addresses, we would have to serve ads to those people. We're not necessarily a data company where you just provide us with the IP addresses and then we just give you a list of the folks that are there. Instead, there would have to be some ad serve, number one. And then number two, that's more for our higher end product that we can do that for. So it's not for the standard stuff, which I still believe is incredibly great. So I don't know if you're using El Toro or one of those other platforms. They're really, really expensive. I think they're a good company, I guess, maybe. I don't want to badmouth anyone, but I think they're just a little pricey. So if you're using them, I think they do have that capacity to do that. So I would just go to them personally. How is it determined with what apps your geofencing ads will show up in? Do we pick? So we do have the ability to pick the ads, but I think more importantly, based on geofencing, you're targeting people based on their locations. So you don't care as much about where they go as long as I'm engaging them wherever they go around the web. We do, the whole form of programmatic is that it is based on an algorithm. So you do have that. But we do have, for example, campaigns where we'll focus on individual campaigns where there are premium apps that we want to serve ads on. That's another opportunity that we have at our disposal as well. Also, price for above plus list of RV dealers. I don't really understand that question. My apologies on that. Oops, typo. Oh, my bad. All right. We'll answer that question at some point, other point. What's the conversion rate on, say, 100K ad impressions? Mark, sorry, I don't know how to answer that question. I mean, it depends on the creative, depending on the landing page, depending on the industry, depending on the location, depending on the time of the year. So many different factors you have to consider. Most of my clients live in rural communities. Does leveraging the location with a small population with targeted demographics work, or is there a minimum population that these tools need to hit before they are successful? There's no minimum population. I think rural communities actually can serve relatively well. So I wouldn't discount the opportunity with rural communities, Charlie. Great question. How many locations in general does 1K camping cover? You know, we would probably recommend at least 10 to 20 locations minimum for a standard geofencing campaign for a $1,000 campaign. Do you have a list of demographic variables you support? Yes, we do. We can provide that. Just ask us. We'll get it over to you. We also have a page on our website that kind of talks about some of the demographic variables that we can target as well. What would be a minimum sized address list that would be valid for addressable? Gang, I would go for at least 5,000 personally. I mean, you can do at least 2,000 if you want, but I think 2,000 to 5,000 would be great. That's how I look at it. Can you post strategy page? Can you post strategy page address? Sorry, I don't know how to answer that question. More information about legal. We have a page on our website that is propellant.media/legal. You can go there. There's a lot of information. We have a resident expert. We're actually a few resident experts in the legal space. We work with a number of large PI attorneys, criminal defense as well. Again, you know, certain clients can be a little, you know, up and down depending on the situation, but we've had some really good success with a few PI attorneys. So heads up on that. And how many apps do you partner with? Gosh, over 600,000 apps that we can effectively partner with. Question on OTT. Don't know how to answer that one. If I know what channel shows my customers like, can we target? Yes. So we just have to see if those shows or those stations are in our inventory list, and then we can target it just to those particular shows, or not shows, but those particular stations. What type of code snippets needs to be placed on the landing page? Track success. We have our own codes that we can track it. So conversion pixels that we can place. Usually our tool is we like to use Google Tag Manager, and we can just control all the pixel placement that way. But that's sort of how we can effectively do that. And for those people that are thinking about using individual landing pages, I'm not to say that using individual landing pages can't be successful, but we like it when the page is connected to the brand. And part of the reason is because sometimes when you have an individual landing page, there's people that want to be immersed in more content rather than just that one landing page, if that makes sense. I can sort of talk about that another time, but I thought it was important to bring up. There's a partial discussion. Do geofenced ads run on websites like Drudge, CNN, Yelp ads? Not Yelp. They can do on CNN. They can be on Drudge. There are some opportunities there. So more premium apps, yes, they can. What is your white label discount? Shoot us an email. We'll get that information over to you. What is maximum number of days you can ask them to display after you've collected the mobile device ID? Up to 30 days. Now, for addressable geofencing, it can be for a longer period of time because that person is in the geofence in perpetuity or for a long period of time. So there are a few opportunities that are available with that. What are the best options for geofencing in Edmonton, Alberta? Oh man, Eamon, I don't know where Edmonton, Alberta is. Shoot me an email and I'll try to get that question answered. I don't know how best to answer that though. Are you sure you can't use this for only lead generation? All right, so everyone, it's possible to use for lead generation. It's just that when we have clients that only rely on it for only lead generation, they're usually disappointed, typically. So there is opportunity there. A lot of it depends on, you know, the creative that you're using, the locations that you're targeting, the budget that you have. There is some opportunity there. But I'm just going to use an example. So if, you know, I'll just use another one. So we have a couple bail bonds agencies that we work with, and you know, it took about the first 2 months to really kind of get it going, but they have been seeing some great success with the geofencing campaigns that we've ran for them. That's lead generation. Now, in the front end, if they weren't predisposed to our conversation on, being patient and just letting the branding and a little bit of the direct response work in their favor, then they would have said, this campaign sucks. It's not working for me. I want to pause it. And, like I said before, there have been agencies or companies that it hasn't gone well with. But when you have a client that is so laser focused on, lead generation, it's tough to meet their expectations. Whereas for our clients that are a little bit more in it for the long game, and they're a little, not more sophisticated, but they have an appreciation for the buying cycle and all the different ways that customers can engage with their brands, those are the folks that really do well. And those are the folks that appreciate the opportunities that are available with geofencing. Why can't you determine how many individuals see the ad? Allie, I don't know if I said that you can't determine how many individuals can see the ad. I see what you're saying. So there are some back of the napkin things that we can do within our agency. I just don't think it's, I don't believe it's going to be super accurate. It's just not something that we're able to report on. I mean, we can show obviously impressions, clicks, click-through rate, apps that your ads are being showed on, which creative is performing well or not performing well. There's a lot of stuff that we can do from that standpoint. It's just not something that we can get down to now. The only level that we can do that in, so let me take it back. We can determine how many individuals do in fact see the ads. It's through another report that we utilize, which I am not going to confuse everyone on this call with, but we can do that. Allie, just shoot us an email and we'll have that conversation. I know we're running a few campaigns with you right now. Appreciate that question. Bob, I got to sign off. Please call my cell. Bob, if you're listening to this, please shoot us an email. I'm going through these questions. Can you do cannabis? So we haven't ran any cannabis campaigns. There are a few other DSPs that can do it. Shoot us a message and I will tell you which ones can. We haven't done it yet. Is addressable geofencing available in Canada? Unfortunately, Vadim, it's not. However, the OTT and connected TV advertising and geofencing is available, and standard geofencing is available in Canada. We have someone on our team that does a lot of work in the Canadian market. So if you do have questions, just reach out to us. We'll get you in touch with them. Let's see here. Golly, man, these questions just keeps coming in. Typically, how do you charge setup fees? We do charge setup fees, so we'll answer that question. And our pricing is based on CPM until you've reached a certain budget level, and then we may switch to a percentage of spend. That's when the client's spending a lot of money with us. So, we can certainly have that conversation at one point or another. Geofencing real estate, expand on how this might work. I kind of talked about that a little bit already, Larry. So, if you are a real estate developer, you want a list of addresses that are on the market for sale, you can target the people that are walking inside of those homes that are for sale. Or you can build geofences around other new developments that's within the area, that's within the same competitive set as your real estate development. Why would I choose IP address over geofencing or geofencing over IP address? I kind of answered that question already. Interested in finding out how geofencing might work along with beacons and perhaps NFC tagging. Sorry, I cannot answer that question around beacons, Larry, my apologies. What would you suggest for someone starting as a white label partner to generate leads? If you're starting out, my recommendation would be to pick two verticals, two industries that you already have some great experience in, and look at the list that I mentioned earlier, where kind of here, you can see like, hospitals, legal, retail, trade show, that type of thing, and start there and just have the conversation and educate them on what's available and the opportunities that exist within geofencing. That's sort of the way that I would approach that. How exact is the geofencing? If I geofence a retail store in a strip center, will the adjoining stores overlap in the geofencing? No, they will not. We can geofence just the one store that you want to target. So that is a capability that we do have for those mall type campaigns. Is walk-in conversion traffic including your reporting? No, it's all included. Great question, David. So in all of our reporting, all that's included within. So, being able to measure foot traffic, that's just part of our standard, package. Now we do charge setup fees for, clients and agency partners. However, all that's still included within our reporting. It's not like it's something separate that you have to pay extra for. I guess our motto at our agency is that you shouldn't have to pay extra to see what level of success or how I need to pivot within a campaign. I just don't believe in that. In your experience, how long in duration are the geofence campaigns in place for Main Street retail locations? Normally at least 3 to 6 months, typically, at least 3 months, I would say. Usually we'll leave them there, and then clients will say, hey, we want to make a change or take out these locations. Yes, the recording will be, yes, this webinar is going to be recorded, so you'll have that. All right, folks, down to 16 open questions remaining. Do the ads show up in all social channels? No. So instead, what I recommend clients do is they consider doing like site retargeting or Snapchat site retargeting or Instagram site retargeting. We do have the ability to do what's called geofencing through Facebook, but it's sort of a bifurcated strategy. So it's not like we're going on the Facebook platform and doing the geofencing. It's not done that way. And plus, that's a little bit more of a more expensive process. So I tell clients a lot of times, just do standard geofencing and then place a site retargeting pixel through Facebook on your website, and you'll get some more, you'll save money and you'll get some more value that way. How often do you bundle geofencing with other services? We don't do it all the time, but we like to do it often, particularly clients with larger spends, because, someone that's sort of at a different level in the, the funnel, if you will, the buying funnel, may be at a different place compared to someone who goes to Google and they do a search. And so you're trying to hit people at different levels of that funnel so that when they do make a decision on 3 companies that they can choose or 3 grocery stores that they can go to, they're ultimately picking your location. And that's why at the very beginning, I was saying it's very important to understand that customer journey. Very, very important. Do you charge to design ads? Yes, we do. We do charge a flat fee to design ads for many of our clients. We do that for many of our white label partners as well. So that is something that we do have the capability of doing. How does our ad come up before a competitor's paid ad? This is more programmatic display, so it's not like it would come up beforehand, but we're essentially, it's part of a bidding auction. So more times than not, it will show up. Ads show up in YouTube. They don't show up in YouTube. I think I kind of misspoke there a little bit. For OTT, we do have some capability, I believe, through YouTube TV, but they don't show up through YouTube, though. That's more of a Google display product, if I'm not mistaken. I'll circle back with our team. That may have changed recently, but right now, let's just stick to the no for now. Is the lead generation done through data or end user form requests? Sorry, Todd, I don't know how to answer that question. We do have clients that have lead forms, and in those cases, then they would be through a lead form effectively. Medical. Have a supply company, gloves, diabetics, OTC, drugs, targeting healthcare offices, e-commerce site, geo work for them? Actually it could. I think actually it could work for them. We can have that conversation offline. And the reason why I think it could work for that type of e-commerce is because there's a certain niche and passion that's involved in that level of targeting. So we can have that conversation. And there are so we'll have that conversation, Bob, just let me know. Keith, what are monthly costs for white label? So we'll shoot us a message and we'll email you that information. Do you design the ad, or is it possible to see sample ads? On our website, we have sample ads that you guys can go to. It's under our ad creative form, under our client login. And so that gives you a sense of the different ads that we have developed in the past. We've done GIF ads for clients, HTML5 ads. So, there's a couple of opportunities that are available there. Can we continually update the addressable marketing, add new clients per day to the list and serve them for 30 days? You can do that, but you don't want to do that every day. You probably want to do that like every, week, maybe every 2 weeks. You don't want to go crazy with every day, unless you probably have to share the use case and then we can have that discussion, but it's possible. What physical locations do the bail bondsmen target? They target courthouses. They target other bail bonds locations. They target jail locations as well. John. Is there a customer dashboard or just white label only? Yes, there's a full dashboard available for both customers as well as white label partners. If a white label partner is looking to share the dashboard with their client, then there is a fee, there's additional charge for that, but we can have that conversation. Well, I've answered 74 questions. Let's see if we can get through this last 5. Per your presentation, B2B is a good audience. Legal is a great audience. I would love to hear any practical ideas you might have for a client of mine. He is a patent attorney looking to target medical device inventors. Any ideas? Stephen, do me a favor, shoot me an email and I'll send you a direct message on that one, if you don't mind. Which verticals do you find are seeing the most success with geofencing programmatic? I answered that question already. So that would include legal, hospitality, retail, franchises, restaurant, food. Places with brick and mortar locations I think are really good. So those are ones that I think are good from that standpoint. If it is not lead generation, what is the value prop of geofencing, or how can we make it lead generation? So again, the thing about lead generation is that we have companies that are only focused, like they compared geofencing to AdWords and they say AdWords is doing way better than geofencing. Geofencing sucks. I'm going to put that to the side. And geofencing, again, is display advertising. It's just very targeted, very, very targeted geographically. So again, just for a lot of people that are out there, you know, try not to look at it from that standpoint. Clients that only focus on it for lead generation, I think just have to be patient, and then they can determine whether it was a success or whether it was a bust. That's how I would look at that, Mark. It's a great question. I totally understand where you're coming from. References in the Texas area? Yeah, sure. Just shoot us a message and we can get some of that over to you. Is there a number of impressions capped? Usually we do 4 ads served per day per person. That's usually what we recommend. But we can oscillate up or down depending on the situation. Is the number of impressions capped? Answered that. And will there be a replay? I missed most of the presentation. Pedro, you are in luck. We will have this presentation live, but you probably will not listen to this last question. But we will have this live. We'll send this out to everyone. So I hope this has been useful to everyone. Thank you so much. We will work to get this out to everyone. Really appreciate you taking the time. And we're going to try and make this a regular occurrence for all of our white label partners, and also for our direct clients. And for all the direct clients that are out there, feel free to visit our website, and we'll have one just for our direct clients and new prospects that are out there as well. Thanks for taking the time, everyone. Really do appreciate it. Hold on a second.